I would attribute a couple of things. We got the why, what, and how for decision sciences and our journey in decision sciences. Right, there was tremendous clarity of thought from get-go with respect to why we exist, and therefore the thought was always that the vision was to institutionalize the use of decision sciences. We use the word decision sciences far more than the word analytics, which is also getting used a lot, because the decision sciences answers the why more clearly. Help people make better decisions. Analytics is, after all, a what and how to help people make better decisions. And then the second part of it, the what, was that getting the operating model right. We were extremely unconventional in the way we thought about the business. We understood very early on that if this business needed to be successful, decision sciences needs to be demystified, and one needs to democratize it. So scaling the business was an absolute necessity. It was not a nice to have. If this was going to be successful, scalability of this business is something that is an absolute necessity. And anything other than scaling this business, in my mind, we thought of it as a failure. The third part of it is the how, right? Having a culture which is congruent with the differentiated operating model means that we needed differentiated operating culture. Again, pushing the boundaries with respect to thinking unconventional needed to happen. Operating at the intersection of multiple disciplines, operating at the intersection of math, business, technology, creating solutions using art and sciences, the algorithmic and heuristic. All of this meant that we needed to focus much more on learning rather than knowing. The way we talk about it is experiential knowledge complemented by inferential learning. As the world is changing quickly, experiential knowledge, just experiential knowledge is not going to be enough. You got to be able to have inferential learning. What happened in the last 30, 60, 90 days? You have to be able to look data. You have to have hypothesis. You have to have good thoughts of design. You have to represent your problems well. All of this has to come, and it has to be consistent with the vision, consistent with the operating model, and you have to be able to communicate it. And the best form of communicating something is just living it on a day in, day out basis. So those are all thoughts that I have with respect to why we have been moderately successful till today, and why we'll achieve bigger things in the future. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to kind of keep that tempo. Just to put perspective, as far as clarity of thought becomes very evident in not just what you do, but what you choose not to do. So we were very, very sure about the fact that anything that touches the purview of the customer or the consumer making a better decision, we will play in that. Anything that does not touch the decision making ability, we will not do. So for example, automating a payroll system was something that we would not do, right? But at the same time, helping the customer come up with better pricing models, and looking at not just building the pricing models, but also taking it from the whole journey, from it being a mystery, you thinking about it in a very heuristic manner, asking the right questions, then coming up with algorithmic solutions for it, and then eventually codifying it. The full journey in pricing we would do. So what we choose, it's about choosing what we will not do, and it's about making sure that we do what we do really, really well. So that was one clear part of it. The second aspect of it is, the people that we bring to the table. We understood very, very early on that scalability was important. if the world is going to see data doubling every 18 months, cost of memory becoming cheaper and cheaper, computing power increasing on a continuous basis, you're not going to be able to institutionalize decision sciences if you're not going to be able to build a scalable talent pool. And very early on, we recognized that even India does not provide enough people with this sort of background. So very quickly we focused from hiring these people who are talented in this to creating people who are talented, which means focus on MuSigma University, all of those kind of things. The last part of it, you talked about living, the communicating, but through living those things, right? So I'll give you a very tactical example because it's very relevant. If you come to our offices in Bangalore or in Chicago, you'll find that all our glass walls have mathematical equations etched on it. These communicate. These are living, breathing spaces, and they communicate back to the people in it, people who are visiting, everybody. So we don't think that they are just just an office. I keep saying that MuSigma's, a lot of unconventional thoughts start from a few people who think about them. I think myself less as the CEO of MuSigma. I think myself a lot more as the founder of MuSigma. And to me, that is far more important. Someday MuSigma might have a new CEO, but I'll always remain the founder of the company. So, playing from the front line is absolutely essential. And if you have unconventional thoughts, you have to accept the fact that you need to be able to communicate those unconventional thoughts in a simple manner and not be afraid to stand in the front and talk about your thoughts and sell those thoughts, not just to customers, but to people, to vendors, to partners, to the whole ecosystem, to investors. So for all of these things, you need to be able to stand on the front line and not be afraid to speak about them in a succinct and clear, with succinct and clear messages. Mm-hmm. So that becomes very, very important.
Okay.
Huge, and we think of ourselves as a company which has the intersection of math, business, and technology.
Right.
Many of the messages that we have, we'll have to use unconventional channels to take the message through. The use of social media, for example, is going to become very, very relevant. Allowing people to communicate in non-traditional channels, and enrich the idea through their communication with each other, learning from them, is going to become very, very important. So I think over the next 2-3 years, you're going to see us use technology not just in our business in a bigger way, but also in enabling our business through creation of better sales and marketing activities, better knowledge management. A business that is built on knowledge, like MuSigma, has to have fantastic knowledge management abilities, and you cannot do that without good technology.